Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Global Happenings Today YouTube channel. Nigerians are lamenting. A lot of market women are crying out. Some few days back, sometime in October, it was actually Ibadan or your state women who screamed and shouted. Those in charge of fish market, they screamed that some of the fishes they buy carton for 20,000. Shower, Monkre, Kute has moved to 60,000 unaffordable, and they are insisting that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu needs to do something and intervene. We're still recovering from that. Then all of a sudden, in Ogun State, the women have hit the street gradually. The hunger is biting real deep, and some of the strong supporters of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who went against their colleagues, celebrities who went against their colleague, insisting that Emilio control it, whether they like it or yes, it is the time for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's time for that, and no one can change that. Are beginning to retrace back their step because hunger no tribe. Hunger is hunger, and hunger bad. Well, before going to the newspaper, kindly subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button beside it. You see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Well, according to the news, some aggrieved Nigerians marched across the streets of Ogun State as at some few hours ago to protest the soaring cost of living under the APC government led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Most of the protesters called for the government to improve social welfare intervention to reduce hardship, and they also went further to say that there's some of the resident youth and some market women said the effort of Tinubu-led government and the economic incentives were not enough to ease hardship. They also lamented a huge spike in the price of food and commodities in their state. It's not only Ogun State, it's everywhere. But of course, in another news, Seyi Law, who is a stand-up comedian, a popular one at that, who during the time for campaigns went against his own colleagues, is now retracing his steps. We're talking about Oluwa Seyitan Alatile, otherwise known as Seyi Law, is a Nigerian actor and comedian, has reacted to the proposed purchase of a 5 billion presidential yacht by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Recall that Tinubu 5 billion naira on the presidential yacht. This was part of the expenditures presented in the 2023 supplementary budget the president submitted to the National Assembly for approval. Now, the Nigerian Navy proposed a capital expenditure of 42.3 billion naira and a recurrent expenditure of 20.4 billion naira, with 5 billion naira going into acquisition of presidential yachts. Now, reacting to the development via his social media handle, Seyi Law lamented that the proposal is insensitive to the plight of Nigerians. He subsequently urged Tinubu to reverse that decision. The comedian wrote, and I quote, "I am absolutely not in support of the procurement of the presidential yacht. It is quite insensitive to the plight of Nigerians at this moment to even rationalize it. I call on the president at official bat to announce again, prove to Nigerians that he listens. Thank you, Your Excellency." Meanwhile, the 2023 presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, AA, Omoyele Sowore, has condemned the proposed purchase of the 5 billion naira presidential yacht. Sowore described President Bola Tinubu's administration as a dynasty of thieves. Dynasty of Ino, dynasty of Ole, dynasty of Oshin, adding that he is trying to deceive Nigerians. Reacting via his social media account, Sowore wondered why government would buy a yacht for a man who, according to him, has not even been to a stream before. Speaking further, he claimed that Tinubu is trying to deceive Nigerians in his outburst over his son's presence at the FEC. My colleagues in the house, what's your take on all of this?
Yeah, one of the greatest enemy of democracy is nepotism, bigotry, ethnicity. It fights against fairness, and it kind of clouds your sense of reasoning. And whenever that happens, one of the surest destination for such a person is, regrets. It's a sure destination for such people, because unfortunately, before you start thinking about someone or rooting for somebody, antecedent is very important. Who has this person been? Now, one thing is certain: you can't plant orange, or you can't all of a sudden see an orange tree turn to a mango tree. It's not possible. You can never see the plant of yam only for you to dig out and you see this thing cassava. It's not possible. Now, if you look at taking a retrospect, going down memory lane to see who this person had been, some of the things that have been written down about him, some of the things that we do not even know, which has been uncovered fairly recently about this person, you can now make your decision. But unfortunately, for someone like Sheilo, he felt, well, it's our turn. It's Yoruba turn. Man, when we talk about the Yorubas, we know there are some very smart dudes there. We know people who have the capacity, to come in and change the narrative. And sorry, but Tinubu may be very down below there. But everybody, during that period, they jump out. He has the ability and all of that because of what? Ethnicity. Today, regrets. What are you going to change? Can you all of a sudden, by a snap of the finger, you change the nature of yam to cassava? It's not possible. So whatever we are going to see now is for everybody to tighten their belt and see how we can go through it. Just like Amechi had said, no be 4 years. And maybe 8 years, we'll have to wait the 8 years out. Now, whoever that will survive will now return to God with prayers. But the problem is that, have we learned our lessons? Now, imagine the level of economic decadence, the level of economic hardship in Nigeria. And someone is proposing things around luxury. Haba! And unfortunately, these monies we are talking about is not some kind of excess money from our export. The country is doing well, man. The president need to chill at least, you understand? It's from loan. We just heard yesterday he has sent in requests to Senate about to call it some billions of dollars, and I think 100 million pounds or so. And guess what? There are some of the loans that Buhari collected, which is going to be paid off, during this period. Instead of us to focus, just like Peter Obi said, nobody, right now, Nigeria must have to accept him the way he is. But if he has a good heart and thinking about Nigerian people, he can adopt some of the blueprint of some of these guys. And let's talk about it. How can we change our country from being a consumption country to a production company? Revolve around it. Even if you may not get it, to the level you want it to be, at least you will be able to get 50% of it. You understand?
But does he even have such people who share such vision? Because sometimes the visionaire, the person who carries that mandate, knows the set of persons he wants to put in that mandate.
Now, he has such people who can do it. But the problem is, what does he want? Because all those guys we are seeing reporting to him during Federal Executive meeting, he's the final decision maker. You can be routing it this way. And he says, that's not what I actually want. He's the boss. He's the one driving the whole show. If you feel you're uncomfortable with how the kind of results I want for Nigerian people, then take a bow and quit the stage. Well, so that's just it.
He has actually said that. But what is actually going on out there is the fact that they said that presidential yacht, according to some top persons, there's actually a Navy yacht, but it's usually termed presidential yacht, which means most times the president will use it, but eventually becomes the Navy property. So I don't know, can you marry it? Does this still justify borrowing that amount of money just for a presidential yacht now? Some of them are even saying that it all began in the time of Bolam, in Buhari's time, but just that Tinubu wants to conclude it by owning it.
Right now, that thing is not important. What is democracy? Democracy is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So whatever decision you are making, if it does not affect the people, especially considering the time we have found ourselves, whatever decision that we should be making now should revolve around changing the narratives for the people. I've always been a supporter of subsidy, because subsidy is the only way you can personally hit your chest and say, I've enjoyed government. You understand? Because if there was still that subsidy there, we'll be so sure that fuel will still be going for maybe 280 or 300. But this issue of removing subsidy when we are not sure, because that was a big question someone was asking. As the central bank, I think, then came out and they were blabbing that, for the first 1 month, we have been able to save this amount of money. Okay, sir, thank you very much for saving that money. What are you? Tell us the things sequentially, itemize it. What did you use that billions of dollars that you were able to save from subsidy? What did you use it for? Itemize it. Let us see it. From there, Nigerians can now know, okay, Oga is doing very well. Thank God they removed subsidy. But this one, you watch it only to hear that one luxury somewhere, it was started by, if you say renewed hope, and that is not renewed shege, but it is renewed hope. As you come on board, you should do everything to make sure that you renew the hope of Nigeria. Nothing like this kind of thing is not important because, Oga, you still have your cars to drive with. You still have your private jet. What is Navy, whatever? How important is it to Nigerians? It's absolutely not important. It is when you have stabilized. It's like a man who just got a loan from the bank and the first thing he wants to do is to change his dressing, take his children to Dubai. While the main purpose of that loan was for him to increase his capital and improve, first of all, build an empire of business for himself before he now goes into luxury. But this one, you avoid all of that. The first time as they just landed you the loan, you even stayed there to start sharing the money to bankers, and when you step out of the bank and you see poor people, you are giving, saying, no, you have to give money to the poor. Oh God, that money was loan, and it was specifically to improve your capital for you to increase your production. But why are you now and that's the same thing we are seeing here. Nigeria, we have an issue. Insecurity is there. If Bola Tinubu was like, okay, this issue that is on ground, we are going to get money to first of all increase our army base, and we now see him doing it. We are going to invite also people to come and help train our armies to see how we can fight terrorism, and then begin to buy cars littered everywhere on the street, begin to fix CCTV camera everywhere on our road that will give us info on how thieves are moving and combat crime. Thumbs up, man. After now, you can buy any fleet. Nigeria goes, man, we don't care. Okay, enjoy. You have shown us that you have capacity. And for you to, first of all, start up with your luxury, that means that was the topmost in your priority. So the people are not even important. So whatever we are seeing right now, we just have to, bear it. For the issue of, I think Peter Obi, and you talked about the issue of Peter Obi. For me, I feel that Peter Obi should think of improving his financial what? He should forget about Nigeria. Nigeria did not need him.
No, you should not forget about Nigeria.
Now, I want to ask you a simple question. Of what importance is his statement? Nigerians would just brood over it. Nigeria would talk about it. Nigeria would speak about it. Nigeria would say, we wish we have somebody. But God knows the heart of Nigeria, that Nigeria actually does not want Peter Obi. Yes. I will say that anyway. Nigeria do not want Peter Obi, because I can tell you the whole truth that the level of corruption in this country.
They rigged him out. I still believe it was that vote we got there is not the original vote. I still believe Nigerians wanted Peter Obi. It's just that you know the propaganda that works. Okay,
now how many of those people up there wanted Peter Obi? Let me tell you the truth about this whole thing. Tinubu is Tinubu, the way we've heard about him, is the climax of the bad stuff, around. But there are a lot of people in the middle class of the bad stuff. There are people at the low side of the bad stuff. Now, Peter Obi is not even fitted into their class. If he comes on board, Peter Obi comes on board. I say this under God, the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, Peter Obi is kicked out of office. So first of all, that issue of structure that they talked about is still very important. And it must be people of like minds like him. Because some people, even when they were supporting Peter Obi, their utmost hope was that they are going to have the latest house in Lekki. Even if Oga would not want to do it the way it should be done, but we will still be chopping some small thing. And then he comes on board and say nobody they chop anything. Now them go talk to the distinct senior and say, man, kick this guy out. This is not the kind of government we are looking for. So for now, Peter Obi should think of improve his financial structure and see how he can start raising men that are like him. Let them understand the end point of this pursuit. Let them know that it's not all about, the superficial things, there's something better waiting us. That's what I would say about the whole story.
All right, for the want of time, that's going to wrap it up. Let's meet in our conversation also.